Welcome to our channel US Coin Mastery. Today we're revealing the rare Washington quarter dollar coins that could be worth way more than just 25 cents. From minting errors to low mintage surprises, these coins might be hiding in your pocket right now. Let's find out if you've got a hidden treasure. Now let's continue our today's video. Top 1 today, we're diving into the fascinating story of a coin that looks ordinary, but could secretly be worth a fortune. We're talking about the Washington quarter from the year 1965. Yes, that plain-looking piece of pocket change you might easily overlook could actually be hiding a rare secret that's turning heads in the collector's world. Now, what makes the 1965 Washington quarter so special? After all, 1965 isn't exactly ancient history, right? But here's where it gets really interesting. The year 1965 marked a major turning point in American coinage. It was the first year the U.S. Mint stopped using 90% silver in quarters and started producing them with a copper-nickel clad instead. This was a huge shift caused by the rising cost of silver at the time. So, most 1965 quarters you'll find today are made from copper and nickel, not silver. But here's where the treasure hunt begins. During this transition, a small number of quarters were mistakenly struck on the leftover silver planchets, the blank discs used to make silver coins. These error coins are incredibly rare and highly valuable because they weren't supposed to exist. They slipped through the cracks of the minting process at a time of change, making them something of a numismatic ghost, real, rare, and extremely hard to find. Collectors go wild for mint errors like this. Think about it. An official U.S. coin that technically shouldn't exist, created during a historic transition, and nearly identical in appearance to the common coins of that year. That mystery, that hidden value, is exactly what makes coin collecting so thrilling. And it's not just silver planchets that make the 1965 quarter special. There are also other rare errors associated with this coin. Some have been found with double dies, where the design appears slightly doubled due to a misalignment during minting. Others show off center strikes, clipped planchets, or even missing mint marks, all minting mistakes that, while once seen as flaws, are now prized by collectors. Each of these errors tells a story of imperfection and a system designed for precision, and that's what gives them such irresistible charm and value. Now imagine finding one of these quarters in your coin collection. A regular-looking 1965 Washington quarter that turns out to be made of silver, or carries a rare error. It could be sitting in a drawer, hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone with a keen eye to recognize its worth. Collectors and treasure seekers alike are constantly on the lookout for one of these hidden gems. It's the thrill of the unknown, the idea that an everyday coin could actually be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And that's what makes the 1965 Washington quarter not just a piece of currency, but a symbol of what makes coin collecting so exciting: history, mystery, and the possibility of striking gold in the most unexpected places. So, what's the value of one of these rare 1965 quarters if you happen to have one in pristine condition or with a unique error? Hold on to your seats, because one of these rare 1965 Washington quarters has been sold for an astonishing $69,000. Yes, you heard that right. $69,000 for a single quarter. So take a closer look at your coin stash. You never know what treasure might be hiding right under your nose. Top 2, we've got something truly special lined up for you. A coin that many people don't even think twice about. It's one that's been passed through millions of hands, dropped into vending machines, tucked away in wallets, and forgotten in old piggy banks. But what if I told you that a simple coin from 1967, a Washington quarter, could be worth a jaw-dropping amount of money? Yes, you heard that right. The 1967 Washington quarter might look like an everyday coin, but hidden among the common are rare versions of this quarter that collectors are willing to pay serious money for. And if you've got one of these rare pieces in your possession, you could be holding on to a tiny fortune. Let's dive into the story behind this coin. By 1967, the United States Mint had fully transitioned away from using silver in quarters. This change began in 1965, when the rising price of silver forced the mint to switch to a copper-nickel clad composition for circulating coins. So, all quarters minted in 1967 were supposed to be made without any silver content. But here's where things get interesting. During this hectic transition period, errors happened. Some 1967 quarters were mistakenly struck on leftover silver planchets, and that's where the value skyrockets. Imagine holding a 1967 quarter that weighs a bit more than normal, has a different ring when dropped, and perhaps even looks slightly shinier. That might just be one of the silver-struck error coins, and collectors go absolutely wild for them. These minting mistakes are incredibly rare, and they only show up once in a while, usually found by someone who knows what to look for or by complete accident. But silver planchets aren't the only valuable error to look out for in the 1967 quarter. Some of the most desirable coins from this year feature what's known as a double die error. That's when the design on the coin appears slightly duplicated, like a shadow image of the lettering or numbers. It happens during the minting process when the die shifts slightly, and the result is a coin with a ghostly double image. This kind of error is rare, fascinating, and extremely collectible. Then there are off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during the strike, resulting in a design that's noticeably off balance. Another collector's favorite is the clip planchet, where a portion of the coin looks like it was bitten off, again, due to an error at the mint. These kinds of flaws aren't just mistakes, they're what make the coin unique, one of a kind, and highly sought after. Now, Keep in mind that the 1967 quarter doesn't have a mint mark because the US Mint removed mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967 in an effort to discourage coin hoarding. So every 1967 quarter looks almost identical at first glance. That's what makes the hunt even more exciting. You never know which one might be the rare treasure. Collectors love the thrill of discovering one of these gems. It's like finding a rare autograph on a common book, or an original painting hidden in a garage sale. It's that moment of pure excitement when you realize the ordinary coin in your hand might actually be a piece of American minting history. And a valuable one at that. So what's the most a rare 1967 Washington quarter has ever been valued at? Hold on to your hats, because one of these exceptional coins, thanks to its rare minting error and pristine condition, has been sold for an unbelievable $69,000. That's right, $69,000 for a single quarter. So the next time you're flipping through your change or sorting through an old coin collection, don't overlook that 1967 quarter. Take a closer look, because what looks like just another piece of pocket change could actually be your ticket to a life-changing discovery. Top 3, we're talking about the 1971 Washington quarter, a coin that may look ordinary on the outside, but for the lucky few, it could be the key to an unbelievable fortune. So sit tight, because what you're about to hear might just have you reaching for your coin jar the moment this video ends. Let's begin with the basics. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, and it's remained a staple of U.S. coinage ever since. But the quarter from 1971? That's a whole different story. While most people think of this coin as just spare change, serious collectors know that the 1971 quarter holds secrets, especially when it comes to rare errors and one-of-a-kind minting anomalies. By 1971, the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned from silver to copper nickel-clad coinage, a shift that had begun in the mid-60s due to the skyrocketing price of silver. The standard quarter that year was supposed to be struck on a copper-nickel planchet, but here's where things get exciting. Mistakes at the mint do happen, and when they do, collectors start paying attention. Some 1971 quarters were mistakenly struck on silver planchets, left over from earlier years. That means they're made of a precious metal when they were never meant to be. Now think about that. A 1971 quarter that looks like any other, but weighs a bit more, rings a bit differently, and glows just slightly brighter because of its silver content. That kind of error is rare, exceptionally rare, and it immediately drives up the coin's value on the collector's market. But it doesn't stop with silver planchets. The 1971 quarter is also known for other striking errors that make certain coins incredibly valuable. One such error is the double die, where the design elements of the coin, like the date, the word liberty, or even in God we trust, appear to be doubled. This isn't damage, it's a minting mistake, and one that collectors love. It gives the coin a unique appearance and makes it stand out from millions of others. Then there are the offset center strikes, where the coin's design doesn't quite land in the center, creating a noticeable and collectible flaw. There are coins with broad strikes, where the retaining collar fails during minting and the coin spreads out, looking oversized and misshapen. And of course, one of the most exciting errors is when a quarter is struck on the wrong planchet altogether, such as a dime or a foreign coin blank. These wild and unexpected combinations are like golden tickets in the coin collecting world. So why do collectors care so much about these errors? It's the thrill of the hunt, the joy of owning something unique, and the historical significance that a mistake at the U.S. Mint can bring. These aren't just coins, they're artifacts of imperfection in a world obsessed with precision. They tell stories of human error, mechanical missteps, and the incredible chance of discovery. For collectors, it's not just about money, it's about legacy, rarity, and the sheer excitement of holding history in your hands. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for. How much can one of these rare, error-filled 1971 Washington quarters actually be worth if found in the right condition, with the right mistake, and the right demand? Well, believe it or not, one of these incredible coins has sold for a life-changing amount. That small, overlooked piece of metal, if it holds the right error and is preserved in top-grade condition, has reached a staggering value of $80,000. Yes, that's right. $80,000 for a single quarter. So before you toss that next coin into a parking meter or vending machine, take a second look. You might be holding on to something far more valuable than you ever imagined. That 1971 quarter in your hand could be a ticket to an amazing payday, and all it takes is a sharp eye and a little bit of knowledge. Top 4, we're exploring a coin that most people have probably handled without even thinking twice about it. A coin that could be hiding in your change right now, just waiting to be discovered. We're talking about the Washington quarter from the year 1972. That's right, the 1972 quarter, a coin that might seem ordinary at first glance, but for a lucky few, could be worth far more than its face value. So grab your magnifying glass and settle in, because what we're about to uncover might just change the way you look at your spare change forever. Now, the Washington quarter has been a staple in American coinage since 1932, designed to honor the first president of the United States, George Washington. It's iconic, it's familiar, and it's everywhere. But what makes the 1972 quarter stand out? Why are collectors buzzing about this particular year? Let's go back to the early 1970s. By this time, the US Mint had fully transitioned away from using silver in circulating coins. The quarter was now being struck using a copper-nickel-clad composition, which made it more cost-effective for mass production. But even though the design and materials remained fairly standard, what really draws collectors to the 1972 quarter are the rare and valuable minting errors that occurred during its production. You see, not every coin leaves the mint perfectly. In fact, it's the imperfections, those fascinating little accidents, that often lead to the biggest paydays. One of the most talked about errors with the 1972 Washington quarter is the double die. In these rare instances, the coin's design is imprinted slightly out of alignment more than once, creating a shadow effect, usually noticeable on the date, lettering, or even Washington's profile. These coins are like whispers from the minting machinery, tiny echoes captured forever in metal, and collectors can't get enough of them. But that's just the beginning. Some 1972 quarters have been found with off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't aligned properly during minting, resulting in a distorted and visibly unbalanced design. Others were struck on the wrong planchet, blanks intended for other coins, like pennies or foreign coins. Imagine the shock of finding a quarter-sized coin with the weight and color of a penny. That's not just a curiosity, that's a treasure. And then there are quarters with broad strikes, where the coin expands beyond its usual rim, giving it an unusual, almost bloated look. All of these errors are rare, unexpected, and incredibly desirable in the eyes of collectors. They turn what would otherwise be a 25-cent coin into a conversation piece, a collectible, and in some cases, a financial windfall. Now, here's the catch. Most of these rare versions of the 1972 quarter are only valuable in exceptional condition, coins that have been preserved, untouched, and kept away from the wear and tear of daily use. That's why it's so important for collectors to handle their coins carefully, store them properly, and always be on the lookout for signs of rare features. So what makes these rare quarters so valuable? It's the combination of scarcity, demand, historical interest, and sheer uniqueness. In a world of mass production, a mistake becomes a rarity, and rarity, in the world of numismatics, means value. And now for the part you've all been waiting for. How much can a rare, error-filled 1972 Washington quarter be worth? Well, brace yourself, because one of these incredible coins, due to its rare mint error and near-perfect condition, has been valued at an astonishing $85,000. Yes, you heard that right. $85,000. For a single quarter. That's the magic of coin collecting. Sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places. So next time you get a handful of change, don't just drop it in a jar or spend it without a second thought. Take a closer look. You never know, you might be holding a piece of history worth more than you ever imagined. Top 5, we're talking about the 1973 Washington quarter, a coin that could turn out to be a hidden gem worth far more than 25 cents. Stick with me, because this isn't just another old quarter. This is a story of rarity, mistakes, and mind-blowing value. If you love discovering the unexpected and unlocking the secrets of US coins, you're going to love what we're about to explore. Let's start with the basics. The Washington quarter, originally introduced in 1932, has become one of the most iconic coins in American currency. The obverse side features a proud profile of George Washington himself, while the reverse design remained unchanged until the state quarter program decades later. By 1973, the coin was being struck in copper-nickel clad instead of silver, a change made years earlier to save costs as silver prices soared. But even with these new materials, errors and anomalies still found their way into circulation. And those errors? That's where things get interesting. While millions of 1973 quarters were minted, only a tiny fraction of them contained the rare flaws and mistakes that make coin collectors go wild. These errors happened right at the source, in the US Mint, making each flawed coin a sort of frozen accident in time. A piece of history that slipped through the cracks and became incredibly valuable. One of the most sought-after mistakes on the 1973 quarter is the double die error. If you look closely at the text on these error coins, you'll notice a shadow-like doubling of the letters or numbers, especially in words like Liberty or the year 1973 itself. These doubling effects are caused by a misalignment during the minting process and are extremely rare. Collectors are constantly hunting for them, and the cleaner and sharper the doubling, the higher the value. But that's not all. Other rare variants include off-center strikes, where the design doesn't quite land where it's supposed to. These coins appear misaligned, with parts of the image or text cut off, an instant sign of value to the trained eye. Then there are quarters with broad strikes, where the coin was minted without its usual rim due to a malfunction in the retaining collar. The result is a larger, flatter coin with an unusual appearance, another favorite among collectors. Now, let's talk about a real showstopper, the 1973 quarter struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine finding a quarter that weighs too little or too much, or has a slightly off-color appearance. Some of these coins were accidentally struck on planchets intended for other denominations or even foreign coins. These mistakes are incredibly rare and often fetch sky-high prices at auctions. Of course, what makes any of these coins truly special isn't just the error itself, it's the condition. A rare error is valuable, but a rare error in mint or near mint condition, that's where the real money is. Coins that have been perfectly preserved, showing no signs of wear or damage, can be worth exponentially more than those that have been through decades of circulation. This is why collectors and dealers spend so much time grading coins. looking at every tiny detail under magnification, checking for luster, sharpness of strike, and, of course, those telltale signs of rare mint errors. So, what does all this mean for you? Well, if you've got a 1973 Washington quarter tucked away in a drawer, sitting in an old coin jar, or even resting in your wallet right now, it might be time to take a closer look. That little coin, which most people wouldn't think twice about, could be one of the rare versions we've talked about today. And just how much could one of these rare 1973 Washington quarters be worth? Get ready for this. Because one of these incredible coins, thanks to its pristine condition and highly unusual minting error, has been sold for an astonishing $90,000. Yes, you heard that right. $90,000. All for a coin that most people would spend without a second thought. So don't ignore your change. Don't overlook those old jars and boxes filled with coins from the past. Because somewhere, hidden among the ordinary, might be your extraordinary treasure. If you enjoyed today's deep dive and want more stories about rare coins and their unbelievable values, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a hidden gem. Until next time, keep looking, keep learning, and happy collecting.